overcoming all and from ABSA, overcoming all obstacles.
Well, without contradicting our sponsors, not always. This was a bridge too far, and the cavalry was called in to do the necessary rescue. It was a race of attrition, as at this stage, almost 40% of the competitors were forced to quit.
Out on the road, Cronje and Birken had started off like a house on fire after DSB, and were launching an attack for the podium.
Their stablemate Taylor was leading after the first loop, but didn't start the second one due to mechanical failure. And back at Stuck Gully, the escape shenanigans were still going strong.
Now from Stuck Gully, the Harpers were intent on grabbing a podium in the special vehicle category, and were on track to do so, but it needed some fine driving and a stay-out-of-trouble approach.
That's what Grobler has been doing for more than 30 years, actually, Roll.
The Nissan team were looking for win number 4, and that's in a row, as well as their 49th victory in 62 races since 2001.
What a record, while Bertolt himself was looking to just record a solid drive over the second loop.
Force and Pitchford were trying to rescue their bad prologue and to make some good progress.
And that they certainly were doing. Variawa was racing well in second place after stating at the start that they only wanted a podium, and if a win came, it would be a bonus.
Yeah, I'm sure they didn't want to win. In third in the special vehicle class, it was still Corbett and Balzar who were ultra steady. Not flashy, just effective and quick.
Woolridge and Schulthammer still ruining their 8-minute time loss with third and trying to marry aggression and containment all at the same time.
The Mickerin XL dealer team, the De Bruins, had zoomed up the standings from 9th to 4th and still climbing.
And they were making the lads in front of them just a bit nervous.
And then the biggest zoomer of the whole day, the Sulvolts, from 16th and up into the top 5. That's a whole lot of shaking going on.
Cronje and Birken were still first on the road, but had lost time to Voss and Grobler in third in the production car class. And they were chasing for all they were worth. It was a Nissan 1-2 ahead of them, though. Bertolt and Vermeulen slotted into 5th, but followed closely by Variawa and Rousseau in that big porter of theirs. And the top 10 rounded up by Corbett and Balzar, who still had the Century Properties Racing bat going in the right direction. On the home stretch, Grobler had gone past his stablemate Voss after Duncan and Ralph were forced to stop and trying to repair broken shocks. That in turn caused a broken brake pipe.
Bertolt was letting her rip. And they almost lost it there. But the Atlas Copco Porter is big and strong, and they sped on, leading Class A handsomely.
They were just less than 4 minutes ahead of Variawa and Rousseau, who themselves had passed 9 cars in the past 300 kilometers.
And the Corbett-Balzar combination was holding station in 4th in the specials. The rest could come at them if they so desired. They were hanging tough. Lady Luck played her part, though. When 30 k's from the end, they broke a left rear drive sharp and retired.
The big blue and white oval is always a big favorite brand out there, and Woolridge and Schulthammer delighted the fans with an excellent drive into third in the production vehicle battle.
But their rear mirrors were starting to fill with this picture. The De Bruins were on the charge, on the second lap, from 20th overall and slapping it into 3rd overall.
Matthews and Smith had also got stuck in a riverbed, but extricated themselves and were into the top 10 as well.
Voss had lost a whole 18 minutes, but was still giving it stick.
Hoping and praying to salvage some points, no doubt.
With a rather clean-looking Regent racing bat in the hands of Marsh and Groenewald, 6th in Class A.
The Class P lead had not changed hands, and the brothers White were back in control and having their best run of the year.
Another team that bided their time was the Silvals, the biggest movers and groovers of the Limpopo 400. From 31st overall into the top 10, and also still overtaking like mad.
Another big upset of the day, the unheralded John Moore and Tom Klaassen. A huge surge saw them go from 15th in class to 5th, and eager for a lot more.
Speaking of eager, Tomset and Haviland were also in on the giant killing act. The Toyota was holding up, and they were too. Into 6th place they went.
Cry and Vogt had eked out 7 minutes of lead in Class B and were avoiding any costly mistakes.
Yeah, even though the Keymax bat was sounding a little stuttery.
Chris Visser and Jaapie Badenhorst taking 7th in the SP class, racing with a cracked windscreen, courtesy of an overhanging branch that leapt into their path. They too had got stuck in a river following that.
That's got to hurt. Now back to Class B, and in second here it was De Bruyn and Brits, who were still 7 minutes behind, but chasing as hard as they could as the K's started to run out.
And Henry and Maurice Matten were counting them down in the leading Class D by almost a quarter of an hour. They just wanted to coax the Nissan home.
And third in Class B, Bez Bezuidenhout and Johan De Bruyn, who were exactly 12 minutes off the lead.
And some parts of the course really needed you to concentrate on the technical stuff. Van Tonda and co-driver Guapo were setting up the Unifreight Ford for a fine 8th place in the SP class.
While Class P's second placer, the brothers Bezuidenhout, were almost half an hour back, but steady as a rock in the Adenko bat.
And back in Class D, Ramon and Maret Bezuidenhout from Delmas proved that they're getting better with each outing. Second, 13 minutes behind the Zermattens in their Toyota.
And the leaders in Class E, Fenter and Palmer, had outlasted all comers in their 4x4 Mega World entry to win in 7 hours and 2 minutes.
That gave them just more than 6 minutes over their nearest rivals Van Breda and De Toy in the multicolored Potch Plastics Toyota Hilux.
Mark Ferguson and Craig West had to take an enforced stop and repair, but they got it going to take 12th in the SP class.
Even though it didn't look like it right here. And in Class E, there was a 3rd place waiting for Jannie Visser and Joks Leroux, who have been having a fine 2008 season.
While Class B's Giel Nel and Dion de Kock in the Look Africa Zarko Truggy filled 4th place, almost an hour back.
Whitehouse and Carlson were the last finishers home in Class A after having a litany of problems, but at least scoring some points.
Mullerland Toyota's SP entry featuring Johan and Werner Horn in their Land Cruiser took 9th place.
With Ferreira and Kotzer taking 10th in a second Land Cruiser, more than 2 hours in arrears.
And in the IDM Cement entry, Jaco Swanepoel and Keith Solomon finished 11th.
The local encouragement was appreciated by all. The Raconic squad could see Beskaghni and Johan Gerber were the last official finishers in Class D, taking 3rd, 24 minutes behind, after a very tough event for all concerned.
The checkered flag, though, was waiting to be waved first for the Nissan of Hannes Grobler and Johan Moore. After just 6 hours and 7 minutes, it was win number 25 for Grobler, and for Nissan, an unprecedented 49th victory in 62 races since 2001.
Yeah, we're very pleased at the moment. We don't exactly know where the other guys are. We arrived here first, and we'll just see in the next few minutes what time the other guys are going to be in. But yeah, we'll see.
Did you have any problems out there?
Not really, except we had two specials in front of us that wrong slotted a few times, and they cost us quite a few minutes because we were catching them, and then they just got into the road ahead of us. So it was just dust, but further the car and John was excellent.
Berthold and Vermeulen got their second victory of 2008.
It absolutely does. In Polokwane here, I've had success before, and it looks like we got success again today. We seem to have just managed to close the gap on Nick Harper, but he made my day a very tough one. He made me work hard for it today.
What were the conditions like out there?
It was very rough. It was a treacherous race. It was a fantastic off-road route. It was well marked, but you had to really mind your P's and Q's and keep the car on the straight and narrow. Otherwise, it wasn't coming home in one piece.
And have a look at this. Birken and Cronje again had to limp home.
Yeah, we were actually doing quite well. We kept the gap to Hannes, but unfortunately about 30 k's from the end, we broke the shocks on the left front, as you can sort of see behind me. It's a bit of a tough call as to whether we were going to crawl home or whether we were going to pack it up, and we said no, we're going to crawl home. Not exactly sure where we've ended up in SP. There seems to be quite a large gap to the other guys, so hopefully we'll score some good points, maybe a third or so. We hope so anyway.
It was in fact a third in the SP class. For Ford's Neil Woolridge, it wasn't a great day, but they still got a podium place in the Ranger.
I can't say it's been my best day, eh? It's been a hard, rough race, and I must say I just battled to get into it on the second lap. We developed a very, very bad misfire on the first lap. The moment the car saw any water, it wouldn't go. In fact, we stopped. We checked everything, checked all the plug leads and checked everything, and we thought, well, that was our race, you know. So we thought, well, we'll just carry on slowly, because if you kept it in a high gear, it would pull a little bit. So we kept going, and then about 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers later, it cleared itself. So at the halfway point, we sprayed some silicone all over the different connections and things like that. And then the last lap, we were just very, very careful through the water. We went very, very slowly. Nearly got stuck once because we went too slowly. But yeah, at least we're here and we got some more points in the bag. Yeah, good to be back.
Variawa had a great run in the Total Motorsport Porter and scored vital championship points.
I think today worked out for us well. We came here not to win a race. We came here just to finish a race and to finish on a podium to secure good points for our championship. And I think today that's what happened, you know.
Henry Zamatin was 17th overall and first in Class D.
Yeah, thanks to BB Auto in Polokwane, we managed to borrow their hoist, and we owe his workshop manager's wife a huge apology. He kept saying to her, don't worry, they nearly finished. I think he got home at 1:30 for a function. I think he's in such trouble. But it was really nice of them to leave the workshop open so we could work on it all night through. Managed to solve all the problems. It's going sweet now.
But not quite as sweet as the bubbly for Grobler and Moore. A back-to-back victory and a huge leap up the championship log.
The De Bruins had a barnstorming finish to leap from 9th to 2nd, while Mr. Consistent brought the Ford home for valuable points too.
And in the specials, Berthold's ears could hardly stop the smile. A big win for the Atlas Copco Porter. And the turquoise team made it 2 on the podium as the Harpers held on for 3rd. But it was the Silbolts who had also supplied a great come-from-behind drive for 4th.
For a great production, our grateful thanks to BSV Printers, Capricorn FM and Moropo Casino and Entertainment World.
It's a battle that is wide open at the top, and it'll be a fight to the 6th and last race of the season.
With the Silbolts, Variawa Rousseau and Martian Prunevat all finishing in the points, the overall and Class 8 championship remains a 3-horse race. With just 2 races left, it's going to be a tense finish to the season.
Until next time, you keep it on the road,
and we'll keep it off-road.
That was the ultimate test. The ABSA Off-Road Champion